Welcome to webdevelopment-school.com. Today we're going to discuss the if statement in PHP. Please note that all my videos are uploaded in HD quality, so if it doesn't look nice, please click in the right bottom at HD for a more crisp view. Let us first start off by opening our editor and the browser, and we're going to browse to localhost. This is the directory listing of the htdocs folder, and we're going to open index.php like this, and we're going to open in our editor this file local disk web server apache 2 htdocs index.php. If this file does not exist, create one and then open it. If you do not have a web server installed or you do not have any idea what I'm talking about, please check out one of the previous videos about setting up and installing a web server. So let us first start by creating a variable with the value 20. And this means PHP open, this means PHP close. Each line needs to end with a semicolon. This means assign a value to a variable. This variable is named age, and it's PHP knows it's a variable by the $sign in front of it. So the value of the variable age is now 20, and when we echo this value, so we echo the variable age, we see 20. So that's working, and if everything went well, you understand these 2 lines of PHP code. But now we're going to check whether a condition is true or not and act by the results of that. And that's done with an if statement. Let me make an example. This is an if statement in PHP. This if means, alright, we're announcing that we're going to create an if statement here. These parentheses are holding a condition. In this case, the condition is, okay, does age equal 50? And these curly braces represent the code which has to be executed whenever this condition is true. So if the value of age equals 50, run this code. And note, this can be multiple lines. It'll execute all the code between these 2 curly braces. So when we run this, what would you expect to happen? Well, we won't see anything in the browser. Why? Because we created a variable age and put the value 20 in it. Then we say, okay, if the value of age, which is 20, equals 50, then we're going to print you're 50 years old. And obviously age is not 50, it's 20. So we won't see anything now. Alright, empty. But when we change this value to 50, it'll change, because the variable age now contains the value 50. And now it reaches this if statement, and PHP is going to check whether this condition is true or false. And age, which holds 50, so if we're going to read if 50 equals 50, run this code. So PHP will definitely run this code. And he's going to echo that we're 15 years old. Well, that worked like a charm. Let's spice it up a little bit. These operators can be numerous of things, like greater than. So let's break this up. First, we create a variable, assign the value 50 to it, which is an integer. Then we say, okay, if this condition is true, we're going to echo this line to be precise. And the value age has to be greater than 70. And in this example, age is 50 and is not greater than 70. So this will return false because it's not true. Therefore, PHP won't execute this source code. It will stay blank. That's correct. So only if age is greater than 70, it'll execute this code. And when we change the value of age to 100, it'll change because now we assign the variable age with 100. And then we say, alright, if this condition is true and the condition is age must be greater than 70, then we're going to echo this. And age now contains 100. So is 100 greater than 70? Of course it is. So now it'll execute this source code. You're old. And funny enough, we've just created some sort of little program. We input some kind of value, like 1. We run a condition over it, and we change the output by a variable value. So if age is 1, we see nothing. Alright, I'm 25, I see nothing. I'm 40, we see nothing. Okay, I'm 80, then we see you're old. So that's quite nice actually. And well, in basic, this is the if statement in PHP. What's nice to know is that we also have an else. And else is called whenever the condition is not true. So if we say if age is smaller than 18, you are young. Well, if everything goes as expected, we won't see this line because age is 80 and is not smaller than 80. So this works fine. But now let's have a look at the else statement. What happens here is that if this condition is true, we will execute this code between these curly braces. But whenever this code is not true, we will execute the code in the curly braces of the else statement. So we've got a variable age, which holds the value 80 here. Then we say if age is smaller than 18, we run these code between these curly braces, echo you are young, so we're gonna see you are young. Else, or otherwise, we're going to execute the code between these curly braces, and we will see you are young. In this case, age is 80. Is age smaller than 18? No, it's not, because 80 is greater than 18. So PHP will run the code in the else statement. So now we're gonna see you are old. You are old. And whenever we change the value of age to like 4, PHP will run the code, comes here, declares a variable age, gives the value 4 to it. Then we check this condition. Is age smaller than 18? Yes it is, because age represents 4. And actually what's going on here is 4 smaller than 18? Yes it is. It'll execute this code and echo you are young. That seemed to be working. Well, I just wanted to introduce you to the if statement in PHP. You are going to use it a lot, so try to play with it a little in your own web server. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video.